Britain discovered early that value travelled faster than armies or ships. Currencies shifted empires long before soldiers marched or cannons fired loudly. London realised mastering exchange meant mastering world behaviour quietly and permanently. Thus began empire built through rates, arbitrage, and meticulously engineered trust. Medieval merchants gathered beside Thames trading foreign coins with whispered precision. Italian bankers introduced accounting techniques enabling Britain calculate value scientifically. London embraced innovation, turning primitive barter into structured financial mathematics confidently. Foreign traders realized London possessed clarity other cities lacked during currency confusion. As commerce expanded, currencies collided, creating profit opportunities through strategic conversion. Britain studied patterns, understanding movement of value across fragmented continental markets. Exchange became science, allowing Britain anticipate political shifts through currency behavior. Information transformed into power, elevating London above rival European trading hubs. Goldsmiths evolved into proto-bankers, controlling flow of foreign coinage locally. Their vaults protected wealth, while their ledgers recorded international financial relationships. Trust concentrated inside goldsmith shops, strengthening British influence within emerging monetary systems. Currency circulation revolved around London, shaping destiny of merchants worldwide. Britain improved exchange methods, establishing networks connecting ports across expanding empire. Colonial currencies varied, but London provided consistent benchmark guiding commercial activity. This benchmark created loyalty, ensuring traders depended on London for valuation. Dependence grew until London became undisputed arbiter of international monetary identity. Insurance markets boosted confidence, enabling merchants conduct transactions across dangerous waters. London guaranteed protection, encouraging trade routes once considered financially hazardous. Confidence increased liquidity, making London central reference for risk assessment globally. Risk pricing allowed Britain steer behaviour of merchants indirectly yet effectively. Lloyd's Coffee House became meeting point for traders, shaping London's financial consciousness. Currency discussions echoed through smoke-filled rooms, influencing decisions continents away. Information traded faster than goods, building foundations for future exchange markets. Knowledge became commodity, ensuring London thrived by aggregating global financial intelligence. As empire expanded, Britain introduced coinage, integrating colonies into unified system. Standardized currency strengthened cohesion, simplifying commerce across vast multicultural territories. Unified value anchored diverse regions, linking fortunes directly to London's decisions. Exchange became instruments aligning colonies with British economic and political priorities. Merchant fleets carried silver, gold, spices, textiles, and currencies from distant lands. London priced every commodity, determining relative value on global commercial stage. Exchange rates reflected British judgment, influencing trade patterns across continents comprehensively. Thus, London shaped world markets through subtle arithmetic rather than overt imperial command. European powers struggled standardizing currencies, lacking cohesion. Britain cultivated strategically. France, Spain, and Austria faced instability due to inconsistent metallic standards. London exploited instability, offering conversion services, prized by British discretion. Foreign reliance expanded, giving Britain increasing authority within continental financial conflicts. Bank of England emerged stabilizing force, reinforcing Britain's growing monetary leadership. Its policies influenced investors, shaping confidence in Britain's management of volatility. Currency convertibility strengthened reputation, making London cornerstone of global financial stability. World trusted British discipline, allowing London dictate acceptable international monetary behaviour. Wars provided Britain opportunity, strength and control through manipulation of exchange rates. Foreign currencies collapsed during conflict, forcing nations seek British financial assistance. Britain evaluated requests determining which nations survived economic destruction or collapsed. Exchange became diplomatic weapon granting Britain leverage even during military neutrality. Foreign merchants adopted sterling for international transactions, bypassing local monetary uncertainty. Sterling became universal language understood across Atlantic, Mediterranean, and Indian Ocean. Dominance emerged not through decree, but through reliability unmatched by competitors. London's clarity made sterling backbone of expanding global commercial architecture. Exchange brokers in London mastered arbitrage, identifying discrepancies across multiple markets. They exploited differences, generating profit, while shaping behavior of international participants. Arbitrage strengthened London, increasing flow of capital across British networks globally. Compounded profits reinforced idea London possessed unmatched superiority within currency exchange. Britain established correspondents in foreign cities, gathering intelligence essential for dominance. These correspondents reported political changes affecting currencies ahead of public knowledge. Information allowed Britain adjust exchange strategies before rivals detected fluctuations. Advantage accumulated, strengthening British algorithm of global financial anticipation. When colonies minted local coins, Britain controlled supply, determining value distribution. Scarcity or abundance manipulated compliance, aligning colonial economies with British priorities. Ripples affected trade, forcing colonies follow London's rhythm of valuation. Currency governance mirrored political governance, reinforcing Britain's macroeconomic authority. International fairs brought merchants together, exposing weakness of fragmented European currencies. Britain showcased efficiency, converting multiple coinages through rapid, disciplined calculation. Merchants trusted British numerical mastery, preferring London's method over local alternatives. Superior precision encouraged widespread adoption of British exchange conventions across Europe. Industrial revolution accelerated movement of goods, increasing importance of exchange centres. Britain became hub, evaluating value of coal, cotton, and manufactured output. Currency markets evolved, responding to wave of industrial globalization seamlessly. London dictated prices, integrating old mercantile world with new industrial capitalism. Railways connected distant towns, increasing velocity of information, influencing exchange behavior. Britain capitalized, establishing telegraph lines, transmitting currency rates instantly worldwide. Speed created advantage, allowing London adjust valuation before rivals reacted. Telegraph transformed exchange into real-time theatre, controlled from British financial headquarters. Foreign governments monitored London's decisions, carefully adjusting policies accordingly. Exchange stability in British markets often determined fate of continental economies. Governments adopted British practices, modernizing currencies, using London as reference. Influence spread quietly, embedding British philosophy into international financial governance. Speculators aligned with Britain manipulated expectations, influencing future value predictions. These predictions guided investors, shaping direction of entire global economies. British expectation became prophecy, affecting decisions taken by ministers worldwide. Exchange markets turned London into oracle, forecasting outcome of geopolitical events. Crises abroad strengthened Britain, nations fled to safety of sterling. Conversions increased demand, reinforcing sterling's dominance across uncertain environments. Global panic ironically concentrated more power inside London's financial districts. Fear made world dependent on Britain's stability, increasing empire's invisible influence. Europe attempted cooperation, establishing stable currency union of resisting British dominance. Differences among nations prevented unity, letting Britain maintain overarching influence. Fragmentation benefited London, allowing continued provision of exchange clarity consistently. Cooperation efforts collapsed, demonstrating resilience of Britain's established monetary architecture. Britain refined exchange warfare, turning subtle mathematics into precise geopolitical influence. Foreign governments adjusted policies, reacting to British fluctuations across global currency networks. Every shift reverberated worldwide, proving Britain controlled heartbeat of financial civilization. Rates became levers moving nations without confrontation, pressure, or military intervention. London brokers interpreted global events, shaping value perception across interconnected economies. Interpretation granted power, directing expectations, influencing behavior of millions internationally. This interpretive authority evolved into soft domination, unchallenged by rising global powers. Britain shaped narrative, turning currency movement into instrument of imperial persuasion. Foreign currencies aligned with sterling experienced stability essential for long-term investment. Those rejecting sterling suffered volatility, reducing attractiveness to global trading partners. Stability created incentive, leading governments adopt British design systems voluntarily. Influence expanded quietly as nations opted security over risky financial experimentation. Bank of England adjusted discount rates with precision, impacting global liquidity immediately. Rate changes decided fate of industries, governments, and entire developing economies. Foreign ministers monitored decisions, treating them as global policy announcements indirectly. London's centrality transformed routine monetary adjustment into international geopolitical theatre. Arbitrage grew sophisticated as brokers sensed continental markets with London's guidance. Tiny discrepancies signaled opportunities exploited before world noticed subtle misalignment. Arbitrage reduced inefficiency, forcing entire world converge around London's valuation accuracy. Coordination strengthened Britain, making competing centres appear slow, weak, and outdated. Britain expanded correspondent networks deep into Asia, Africa, and emerging America. Correspondents observed local conditions, predicting currency vulnerability with remarkable precision. Reports shaped strategy, letting Britain prepare interventions months before rivals reacted. Information pipeline guaranteed Britain anticipated future global market trajectories flawlessly. Colonial administrators enforced currency systems, aligning with London's preferred exchange architecture. Colonial populations adapted, gradually learning value through British-approved monetary rules. Exchange became cultural influence, embedding British logic into everyday commercial behaviour. Economies synchronized, with London strengthening empire's invisible connective monetary tissue. Foreign banks attempted forming cartels, challenging British dominance across world exchanges. But internal disagreements weakened cooperation, allowing Britain maintain structural superiority. Cartels collapsed when faced with unified precision of London's brokers. British coordination prevailed because confidence anchored firmly within sterling-based infrastructure. New telegraph cables expanded reach, allowing Britain broadcast exchange rates instantly. Speed removed competitor advantage, empowering London react ahead of global markets. Instant information improved accuracy, making sterling reference for international financial truth. Telegraph strengthened psychological dominance, binding world closer to British timing. Crises abroad turned London into sanctuary, where capital sought immediate refuge. Inflow strengthened sterling, further reinforcing London's supremacy within global networks. Fear elevated Britain, making instability elsewhere amplify British monetary prestige. Crisis became opportunity, growing empire through safety narrative perceived worldwide. Rising America challenged Britain, using emerging industrial strength and confidence. Yet British networks controlled information, emitting American influence over global valuation. Dollar gained momentum, but mirrored British standards, following established London principles. America grew powerful, but still danced to rhythm composed in Britain. Japan modernized quickly, forming banking system inspired heavily by British methods. Exchange governance replicated British structures, integrating Japan into global monetary ecosystem. Tokyo synchronized with London, reinforcing Britain's central position across East Asia. Adoption symbolized respect, acknowledging superiority of Britain's exchange doctrine. European nations rebuilt after wars, using British financial expertise for reconstruction. Exchange stability required sterling reserves linking future of Europe to Britain. Reconstruction deepened dependence, embedding British influence into continental economic planning. Britain shaped Europe's destiny subtly through currency, overt political authority. Britain's shipping empire facilitated consistent exchange flows across distant trade routes. Merchants trusted British-controlled settlements, guaranteeing efficient cross-border payments globally. This trust strengthened London further, making currency alignment practical and advantageous. Trade became vehicle spreading British valuation across continents, naturally and quickly. Gold convertibility amplified sterling dominance, reinforcing perception of British discipline. Global investors relied on British gold promise, treating sterling as ultimate safe asset. Confidence enhanced liquidity, strengthening ability influence world through subtle monetary adjustments. Gold anchored empire's authority, ensuring sterling remained unbeatable for generations. Foreign central banks mimicked British frameworks to gain international credit acceptance. Implementation mirrored British standards, embedding London's logic inside foreign institutions. Thus, Britain shaped architecture guiding policy at highest global financial levels. Exchange became universal language developed and perfected exclusively within London. London newspapers printed exchange tables, determining perception of global economic health. Articles shaped narrative influencing behavior of merchants, bankers, and politicians. Media extended power, transforming London's analysis into globally accepted financial truth. Narrative control reinforced sterling's prestige, consolidating Britain's monetary throne. Stock exchanges in colonies mirrored London's values, pricing assets accordingly. Local economies synchronized with British capital flows, influencing investment priorities nationwide. Even remote markets relied heavily on sterling, referencing British-led global valuation. Empire extended, psychologically codifying British supremacy, international financial identity. Speculators challenged Britain occasionally, attempting destabilization of sterling through coordinated strategy. But Britain retaliated instantly, using liquidity strength, overwhelming speculative opposition entirely. Failed attacks reinforced global belief in Britain's unmatched monetary resilience. Sterling became fortress unshaken by external pressure or internal uncertainty. Interest flows directed global investments, pushing resources toward British-backed enterprises worldwide. Foreign opportunities rated through British criteria, gaining legitimacy only through London's scrutiny. Britain decided where capital moved, influencing development of continents significantly. Exchange created pathways guiding growth according to British strategic preference. Private banking families extended British influence, operating networks expanding imperial reach. Their contacts spanned capitals, enabling rapid movement of information and money. Families collaborated with London, ensuring unified front against rival monetary centres. Collective power strengthened empire's financial skeleton, supporting global dominance consistently. Nations resisting British control sought currency independence through alternative valuation standards. But alternative systems lacked credibility, failing competing against sterling's established trust. Resistance gradually evaporated as practical necessity outweighed national monetary pride. Sterling remained dominant because world required stability Britain alone provided. Asia's integration accelerated as trade modernized, requiring consistent multinational exchange benchmarks. Britain provided benchmark, becoming essential mechanism, enabling regions' economic expansion. Influence spread quietly, embedding sterling into structure of Pan-Asian commerce. Integration benefited Britain, ensuring region relied on London for valuation. Latin America borrowed heavily, requiring exchange stability guaranteed by British institutions. Borrowing increased British oversight, embedding influence into local financial legislation. Nations gained capital, but surrendered meaningful control over monetary sovereignty. Debt-chained region connecting future directly to London's monetary judgment. Africa's trade networks modernized, using sterling-based calculations governing cross-border commerce steadily. Local currencies weakened, replaced gradually by British-approved methods of valuation. Exchange informed taxation, trade, and development, shaping trajectory of emerging nations. Africa learned global economy through financial system authored entirely by Britain. As 20th century dawned, new powers attempted modernizing exchanges through advanced models. Yet models still relied on principles developed first inside London counting houses. Britain's legacy persisted, shaping future even when direct control decreased politically. Ideas survived because foundation remained respected by global financial community. World Wars tested system, forcing nations reconsider structure of global exchange governance. Britain adapted rapidly, protecting sterling while aiding international recovery decisively. This adaptability reinforced trust, allowing Britain remain central despite devastation. Exchange survived conflict, proving British system resilient under extreme geopolitical pressure. Even when new institutions formed, Britain influenced frameworks guiding reconstruction and stability. Committees adopted British logic, bedding sterling's philosophy into post-war financial architecture. Rules reflected empire's traditions, shaping global currency governance for future generations. Britain wrote blueprint, even as new superpowers emerged claiming leadership. Sterling eventually lost throne, but left unshakable foundation beneath global exchange. Nations continued using British-derived methods, shaping valuation across countless transactions globally. Legacy endured because Britain mastered systems, transcending political rise or fall. Empire of exchange remained alive through logic defining entire global economy. Britain proved calculations could rule world stronger than armies ever could. Exchange became weapon, diplomacy, infrastructure, language, and global psychological anchor. World obeyed arithmetic developed inside London's quiet financial districts effortlessly. Thus, Britain conquered markets permanently, building empire from movement of money. If this story revealed how Britain ruled through silent numbers, remember, markets obey laws written by unseen hands. Subscribe for more untold histories beneath global finance. Because the next empire will rise through algorithms, not armies.